Sri Lanka is a tropical country that located in the Indian Ocean, commonly known as the teardrop of the India or the pearl of the Indian Ocean. In recent past, many tourists have chosen Sri Lanka as their travel destination because of the unimaginable beauty that this tiny island has. From magical beaches to breathtaking hill country, this island nation is a true magic of the Mother Nature. But have you ever wondered that this little island has a long history dated back to 2500 BC? Yes, their history dated back similar to ancient Egyptian civilizations. But usually when we dig into the history of Sri Lanka, we can find that Sri Lankan history began with a prince named Vijay who came from India 2500 years ago. But is that the Sri Lanka's true history? Was this nation start from an Indian origin? Or are there something ancient hidden under the sand of this beautiful country that yet to be revealed? Let's dig out the true history of this magical island. The Mahavamsa is a book that written in the Pali language which contains the history of Sri Lanka, like events of religious and political importance in their history. This book, written in the 5th century AD, was started by Mahanama Thero, who resided in Digasanga Pirivena in Anuradhapura. Some believe that it was King Dhatusena who invited to compose this book, because the composition of the Mahavamsa begins during the reign of King Dhatusena. Before the Mahavamsa, religious and politically important information such as this was written in a book called Deepavamsa. Also, it has now been discovered that the basis for writing both the Deepavamsa and Mahavamsa was inspired by an ancient book known as Sihalatta Katha Mahavamsa. As I said earlier, Mahavamsa was written in the 5th century AD and the Deepavamsa was written in the 4th century AD. But both these books begin with the arrival of the Indian prince known as Vijay, which is said to have happened in the 6th century BC. So, it is clear from this that even though all the important historical information of Sri Lanka from 5th century AD was written in the Mahavamsa, the authors of these books had to find the facts about the events of a period of almost 1,000 years from some other sources. Even today, no archaeological evidences has been found to prove that Prince Vijay came to Sri Lanka. Currently, history is built on these literary factors. But today, there is a big discussion about this among the people, whether a person named Vijay really came to Sri Lanka. Some historians now believe that from Vijay, Mahanama Thero probably meant the North Indian tradition that came to country during the 6th century BC. Also from Queni, the traditions of Sinhalese who lived in the country at that time. The main reason for this is because evidence has been found that many maritime trade transactions took place between Sri Lanka and India way before Vijay came to Sri Lanka. So, when Mahanama Thero wrote the history that he did not know, it is possible that he replaced that history with personal characters in a literary way in order to understand that event. It is possible that the idea of this excellent history book written in this way may have been used by the British in a different sense during the rule and instilled in the minds of the people in society using their education system. Now I will tell you the currently accepted history of how Sri Lanka and Sinhalese began their culture. According to this story, Queni is the child born to the woman of the Yaka clan named Masiti Pali and the general named Vikumta Bhadra. When Prince Vijay came to Ceylon, Queni was in charge of one part of Sri Lanka as a local warden at that time. Yakka clan or Yakka means devil in today's Sinhala language. So people start thinking that author of the Mahavamsa was telling us that before Vijaya came, people who lived in Sri Lanka were called devils or inhumans. According to Sri Lankan investigators, that was the main reason why Sri Lankan history went wrong. While talking about this story, we will tell you about it in details. According to the Mahavamsa, Kuweni, who fell in love with Vijaya, went against her kind and married him. At this time, there were 7 main rules of the Yakka clan. Kuweni is exiled from her clan for breaking the rules such as marrying unsuitable clans and turning her back on the clan. As mentioned in these chronicles, after marrying Vijaya, Kuweni made the biggest mistake of this country's history. She betrayed all the leaders of her clan. Due to this betrayal, Vijaya and others who killed all the Yakka clan leaders took the control of Sri Lanka in their hand. In the course of time, Kuweni and Vijaya got 2 children. After some time, Vijaya leaves Kuweni and married a princess from India named Bhaddakachana. After that, not only Kuweni but also their 2 children were abandoned by Vijaya. Because she betrayed her people, the Yakka clan did not accept her either. Due to this, it is mentioned in the Mahavamsa that Kuweni made a curse with the sorrow posed here. To be precise, it is mentioned that she cursed 3 generations of this country. These generations are Vijaya's generation, Ravana's generation, and Vijaya Kuweni's generation. The facts about these curses have been mentioned in old books like Vargapurnika, but I do not expect to talk about these curses in this video. Because as I said earlier, the opinion of many scholars is the inner meaning of Vijaya Kuweni's story shows the story of taking root of traditions that came from North India with a literary idea. It has been mentioned this is how Sri Lanka became a civilized country. This is how Sinhalese began their story. But according to the archaeological evidences found in this country, the history of Sri Lanka goes much further back. Ancient books are one of the main ways to discover history about the places. So written history is not something that we can ignore. No matter what religion we follow, most of it is mentioned in written books like Bible and Quran. But even more than these evidences, the archaeological evidence that we find physically is something much stronger. Let's start our story like this. Modern humans currently believed to have originated by the Great Exodus from Africa 150,000 years ago. So according to the archaeologists, this modern man traveled to places like Europe, Russia and to Australia through Asia. Historians believe that Sri Lanka and India were linked together in prehistoric times according to the evidence found so far, and they say these 2 lands were separated 7,000 years ago. During the past thousands of years, the world's sea level have undergone various changes. A place where we can get a clear idea about this is the sand dunes in Nusangoda, Sri Lanka. We can find out what the sea level was at that time from the sand dunes on this coastal area. The lands are exposed when the sea levels decrease like this, and it is said that the modern man came to Sri Lanka at such a time. Sri Lankan archaeologists found some ancient equipment from a place called Pathirajawala. With the evidences they found there and through the tests done in Nusangoda sand dunes, archaeologists think that the time when this ancient human came to this country may be 155,000 years ago. Information has been found that the people who came here first lived in the area called Minnehaha Mountain. The archaeologists who conducted the investigation of this Minnehaha Mountain, which is a place where Hambantota district is located, have been able to find stone tools which can be believed to have been used by prehistoric people. According to the carbon testing done using these items, it has been dated to the same period as Pathirajawala evidences, which means that it belongs to a period of almost 125,000 years. In addition to the Sri Lankan archaeologists, some other human skeletons were found in places like Balangoda, Sigiriya and Kuragala. All these skeletons belong to people who lived between 12,500 and 3,000 years ago. Also, these investigators were able to find the special methods of burying these skeletons. That means during the time period I mentioned, there have been funeral methods in the society of Sri Lanka, just like in ancient Egypt. In addition to the human skeletons that I talked about earlier, some animal skeletons from thousands of years ago was found in different parts of Sri Lanka. According to them, there have been very different animal groups living in Sri Lanka at that period. It has been found that a species of lions called Pantheraleo sinhalis lived in Sri Lanka from a lion's tooth found in a gem mine in Kuruvita. Although this lion category is a type of lion endemic to Sri Lanka, today this animal category is completely extinct in the world. In addition, these archaeologists have managed to find bones of an elephant called Elephas maximus sinhalis in Kuruvita. These elephants are larger than the common Asian elephants, and this animal group is also extinct. This is why I first said that we can find more information about the history of this tiny island than we think if we research more. Let's see what else we can find out about the history of this country. I'm sure you won't find these stories we are telling in the video about Sri Lanka from another traditional history video. Archaeologists were able to find a large number of examples of how the ancient people of Sri Lanka used different types of tools to make their lifestyle easier in ancient eras. During the excavation of Halmadulla cave, things like grinding stones and pieces of cooking tools were found. And in another excavation, articles made using Tiruvana stones were found. These found tools have been dated to be around 28,000 years. Also from those evidence in the Halmadulla cave that I mentioned are the biggest proof that ancient Hela Sri Lankans lived in an agricultural civilization in the past. We have learned that when Prince Vijay came to Sri Lanka, he brought not only culture but also nuts like rice and established an agricultural social system in Sri Lanka. It is said that Sri Lankan tribes lived in a hunting age when they arrived. If ancient Hela Sri Lankans used grinding stone tools, as I said, they must have made food using grains or nuts. And in order to find nuts, most of these settlements must have been fed by agricultural traditions. If so, according to archaeologists, our ancient people have transformed from hunting age to an agricultural age during the period between 10,000 and 5,000 years. If you know about Sri Lanka, you may know that it doesn't snow in Sri Lanka because Sri Lanka is located near the equator. But as a group of archaeologists have found, snow has fallen in Sri Lanka 10,000 years ago. A famous scientist in Sri Lanka gets a surprising result in an experiment done for his PhD. That is when he examined a soil sample taken from a depth of about 20 feet in the Horton Plains area. He found the pollen of an oat tree. According to its dating, he found that this pollen is about 17,000 years old. By further analyzing the pollen, they understood that this tree was not a tree that grew by itself, but a plant that was maintained by someone. After starting more tests there, they have also found pollen from a barley plant. What is special about this discovery is that there is no perfect weather in Sri Lanka to grow these trees. Those plants to grow in this area, for sure the climate in Horton Plains must have been similar to the current winter climate in Europe. So the people lived at that time had the ability to grow plants even in such weather. Do you know that the oldest hospital in the world is in Sri Lanka? Yes, that is the Alahana Pirivena Hospital in Polonnaruwa. As far as information is available, it is called the Parakramabhahu King's Hospital. He was known as a very skilled surgeon. During the excavation of this hospital, archaeologists managed to find several metal objects in a room. Since they had not seen such items before, they handed them over to Professor Arjuna Aluvihare, a professor at Peradeniya University. After studying these objects, he gave an explanation in a conference. According to the facts mentioned there, he stated that all the equipments found in Alahana Pirivena Hospital are similar to the equipment found in modern medicine. According to these items, he showed that brain surgeries and rectal surgeries were performed in this hospital. He further pointed out that these are the two most sensitive and difficult surgeries in medicine. It means that ancient Sri Lankan people also had excellent medical knowledge from the past, and if we search properly, we can find such a large amount of evidences about Sri Lankan history. During the excavations, many historical graves have been found around Sri Lanka. Among them, the Labugala tomb and the Ibbankatuwa tomb are known as the best places to find Sri Lanka's traditions. Ibbankatuwa tomb belongs to the 7th century BC, and there they have found objects such as clay pots and ornaments used at that time, and archaeologists found some burial objects with some burial methods. If you plan to visit Sri Lanka, definitely visit this Ibbankatuwa cemetery. This place will take you to prehistoric times for sure. In the museums here, you can find almost all the jewelries and the items I mentioned before. This is the first part of our story. In this video, we brought you the archaeological facts that we can find about the history of Sri Lanka. In the next part, we will talk about how the people of historical Sri Lanka were divided into clans and gradually made their society to an advanced civilization. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next part.